We had discussed what our body is gifted with when it has to deal with foreign particles or pathogens, or in short I would say we studied about the immune system of human body. Now what we are going to study is what are the major threats to that immune system, and the major threat to the immune system is a diseased condition. Now when we talk about diseased condition, the individual must not be physically, socially and mentally well, okay. If it is not at the social, mental and physical level that the person is leading a balanced life, that means he or she is suffering from the disease. Now because we deal with immune system over here, there has to be an antigen or an allergen and an antibody against it. So we are going to deal with that class of diseases which are communicable and non-communicable. Now this is certainly without doubt I can say that not for the first time that you are hearing this term. Those diseases which are infectious in nature come into the communicable category, while those which are non-infectious, they are non-communicable. What does communicable means? That a person infected can pass on the disease to an uninfected person. So we have otherwise infectious and non-infectious diseases, okay. Now when we talk about communicable or the infectious diseases, the infected individual is prone to pass on the infection to a non-infected individual, okay, and certainly the pathogenic causes would be behind it. So when we study infectious diseases, what are we going to cover is the first type of disease that we cover is STDs or STIs. What is STD? It is sexually transmitted disease or sexually transmitted infection. To name one, I have the example of AIDS. What we are going to study would be gonorrhea and syphilis. Okay, so we have these sexually transmitted infections which are quite prominent in human population, that pass on from one individual to another by close sexual contact with each other. The next type of disease is the type of diseases which are caused by protozoa or bacteria. Okay, causative agents could be bacteria, they could be protozoans, as we have the example of malaria, they could be helminths, they could be viruses. Helminths is the example of elephantiasis, where the feet grow large in size as if it is an elephant's feet, okay, the limbs grow so huge in size. So we have bacteria which cause disease, we have protozoans which are causing disease, which we have helminths which are causing diseases, we have viruses which are causing diseases, as we have the example of common cold, it is caused by virus. So we have the various pathogen derived diseases, okay. Vectors could be involved in this type of disease where the causative agent is going to pass on the disease, and it will be communicable in nature, that it can pass from one person to another. The last type is non-infectious type or the non-communicable disease, where we have the example of diseases like cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, where it is an autoimmune disease, okay. This is also an example of non-communicable disease. Both of these are autoimmune disease. Autoimmune diseases, that means your immune system becomes your enemy. The person who was designated to protect us now becomes our enemy. So that is autoimmune disorders, and these are certainly non-communicable. You cannot pass cancer to the other person, right? You cannot pass rheumatoid arthritis. Supposedly a lady is sitting with her joint pains, she cannot pass on that joint pain on to you because it is non-infectious. And lastly we have human genetic disorders which are rooted inside the genes, and by any means you can't even imagine that they get transmitted or they are communicable. Had they been communicable, it would create a havoc. So one by one we are going to deal with these infectious and non-infectious diseases. We are going to see what are the different types of sexual transmitted infections or sexually transmitted diseases. In each case we are going to consider 2 or 3 examples, and we are going to see the causative agents and the symptoms when we study this very topic of your syllabus.